great.
I'm more tanky than you now. Far more tanky, actually. Like, what is it, 21 AC I can get up to?
I do have more AC than you as base, though.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. What's the AC that you usually sit at there, Tesh?
Resting AC is 30.
And you can get you a +8, so you can get up to a 21, right?
Yep, mage armor and shield.
Yeah, and that'll last you for like 5 minutes, which is nice.
Well,
All right.
shield 1 minute, mage armor for hours. So
Correct. Yeah, mage armor for hour per level.
actually, you're right. I think it is 5 minutes now because it's per level, isn't it?
Minute per level for the for shield. Yep.
I actually like that. I really like the level. As your character levels, everything gets stronger with it.
That is probably my favorite thing about Pathfinder so far. Is that the level, the per level stuff.
Yeah, like right now, my shocking grasp literally eats people's asses.
What's funny is I can't speak of 4E because I don't know it well, but that's how 1, 2, and 3. That's how 1, 2, and 3 work, as well as, of course, Pathfinder. 4E, I feel like they're more like the 5E, where your level doesn't necessarily affect the damage. So
I don't really recall. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I have very little experience.
Played a druid and I spammed healing spells a lot.
Oh, I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you, right? Anyways, hi everybody. Welcome to Aurorum Season 3. Aurorum Kingmaker Season 3.
Christ, Season 3.
I know. Season 1 was a couple of hapless adventurers come together by happenstance, and they kind of flubbed their way through some cursed eruption and got permissions to start a kingdom. Season 2 was fledgling kingdom, coming from a town of a couple of people and themselves, and maybe some traders that were traveling through, and now they built themselves up to over 3,000 citizens in their city-state, and they actually have 2 towns. And Season 3 opens with war pounding at their door. They are now early in the spring and looking to see what they can do to survive. Neil is looking at all of the new ways that you can spend daddies over on Twitch.
Uh-oh. I'm scared to look.
I like this because a lot of them are positive.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. And what I
They're not like, by the way, here's my dick, oh, as it's forced down your throat.
well, I mean, that could also be a good thing, but the certain things will be turned off during war combat, like Aid of the Martyr, Prayer of the Martyr. And then, generally speaking, use of Twitch chat Pool of Luck and use of Daddy's Dice aren't allowed during war combat. However, there's literally things on there called Skilled Commander and Blessings of the War Gods that are that give you the ability to use your Pool of Luck or my Pool of Luck in those combats. So, because if you just allow D4 all the time to be added on, you would just decimate armies every time. Like, just kind of cut through them, hot knife butter sort of a thing. So this helps us to keep the battles, somewhat fair. You guys excited for being in war? Aragorn, my lord?
I am, thank you. I've just woken up, so just give me, 15 minutes to...
Have you got a coffee, mate? You've got some of your coffee milk.
I have.
Good.
Yeah, I got my coffee milk ready to go.
So I feel like it's a knock against me. So so there is a few little bits of stuff that we need to do potentially before the first actual battle. So why don't we kind of jump into the game? A reminder of where we left off at the end of our preseason session, where we did 2 kingdom rolls, finishing up what would be. Let me actually open up. What's it called? Our kingdom tracker over on Google Docs. Everybody else is welcome to, of course, follow along if they'd like. So where you guys are finishing up what would have been kind of, depending on if you're southern or northern hemisphere, you know what I'm talking about, March or October. We're now going into the month of what's early spring, so the equivalent of like an April/November, right? So April is kind of like what we are to speak to most of the northern hemisphere's peoples. Coming into this month, you guys have seen lots of rain through the past couple of months and everything. Fortunately for you, that's actually going to end in about a week's time in game. So as soon as you get pushed through that week, we can actually remove all those -2s to all the rolls and everything that are happening. So yay there. Unrest is gone, which is good. That's a good way to be coming into the kingdom. And you do have lots more citizens. I actually have, let me bring this over so everybody can see the map. Bam. So we have over here just a quick little view, and we're going to jump into it. I made little tokens for where all of the soldiers are, where your little armies are. So we don't. I actually currently have red plugs, or red tokens on each of the armies, saying these armies not actually active at the moment. But I know you're about to make an army active very, very soon, Neil, because you're going to go have a conversation very, very soon. So the short version is you have a couple of little tokens. You can actually drag and drop them from the side. Yeah, they can come with you too. It's okay. You can bring your friends. You can drag and drop different ones from the side if we need to. But if you actually click on the little tokens, it shows you for certain details about them. The red is how many actual people are inside that army. So they're in groups of 100, 100, 200, 500, so on. The middle bubble, the green one, is the speed of that army. So how many hexes they can walk in a day, which is wonderful. And I actually count halves as a thing, because you can actually move a half a hex. There's a way to track it on the map, so we allow that. And the blue is how much consumption. So that keeps track. And then you guys have a ton of little handouts, so I'll let you look at those. I don't want to make this a long chatty thing like last time, so I'm just showing you that very quickly. Awesome. Well, that's the battle map. Why don't we go to the different things you have looming over your head? One, a report comes in from one of your guards standing inside of the war room, saying that they've noticed a couple of times since early this morning, something on the table rises up, giving you the signal that the small group of soldiers that you had sent to the Mull Keep to the far west they've gotten there, and they're trying to get your attention so you can go over there and meet with the person that a hired group by Elliot had discovered beforehand. You also know that you have to get your army together, which is already almost done to be ready in a couple days' time for you to head to the east. You're supposed to meet shortly outside of, right outside of Rid, so you can meet with the free folk of Adir. So you can actually meet with them about potentially having them join as mercenaries to your army. And lastly, you have no scouts telling you where the armies of Haude Gwenh are. And so checks can be made to send people out to see if they can find out where they might be. I'm going to say my last little thing, and I'm going to bring it to the party. Again, as a reminder to everybody, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can spend your daddies on the game. Feel free to check them out, but a very quick explanation. This scout report, size, location, and more. Some information is revealed to the party about enemy armies. Tight formation, and take the advantage of both the 1 round bonuses that the party can have in combat. Roga's Wrath and Chains of Aravel, both big boons to the party in moments of need that come at a small cost. Spoils of War is a way that if they win a battle, for you to guarantee that they earn a little bit of BP, so they can maybe survive this onslaught and have a little money in their pocket without being too much in debt to their allies. And lastly, as I mentioned beforehand, Skilled Commander and Blessings of the War Gods allow Daddy's Dice and Luck Dice to be used respectively. I sent it to the party and ate up 7 minutes of Jake's wake-up time. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do in the micro before we handle the macro?
We should probably meet Mr. Undead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Tesh. That's really important. Thank you so much, Naga. That is actually very, very important. Let's take this back a step. That month and a half or so that passed, did we or didn't we announce information on General Yeager? Thank you again, Snaga. I appreciate it. Everybody command Snaga. Praise be. Fire God.
As far as I know, the idea was what we were doing was not publicly announcing it, but the troops that need to know.
I mean, there's no way to avoid
One
it.
wanted to publicly announce it because
Oh, okay.
he thinks it would bolster our own thing to say that we brought him back from the dead. So
Okay.
that was where
I'm
I
up for
stood
that.
on it, but I wasn't sure exactly where you guys stood.
Rayron and one had different
This is kind of
opinions.
like your opinion here. So
Yeah.
it's kind of you're stuck as the tiebreaker. One is very much for. One is mostly against, but isn't like as diehard as the other one is for. And then you are the tiebreaker. You
Okay,
can
so the
feel free to
benefits of
RP this in
public-
council room. Now's your chance, Neil. Out-talk Jake while he's sleeping.
We have we have the benefit of morale boost if we announce it. We have the benefit of misinformation or unreliable information if we don't.
Haude Gwenh probably has spies in our kingdom anyway, so they're going to find out that he's alive either way. So I think we should get ahead of the curve.
Well, yes, but it's not so much Haude Gwenh that we're worried about, but the assassins that Paradale sent.
Yes.
That'll get back to them either way.
Time is important, particularly when we're at war.
The longer it takes, the more likely that we get at least our battles done with Haude Gwenh by the time they interfere.
Maybe we should say send somebody to Paradale to give Vigil up. Aren't they looking for Vigil? We just tell them exactly where they are.
That would be a bad idea because they have to come through us to get to them.
Hey, that squares us up with them for now. Just saying.
We do require vigil at the moment.
Yes.
Yes, at the moment.
Anyway, well, it is problematic.
In regards to General Jaeger, I believe it shows divine mandate, and it further reinforces what we've said we're doing here.
I think yes. I think we should go for what we know rather than what might be. We know that it will improve morale, whereas we do not know whether it will have any effect on what Paradale finds out. This way we have a certainty and we know to look out for them knowing.
Also, if it gets back to Haude Gwenh, might cause some doubt in some of their soldiers.
That is true.
Indeed.
So the choice is to make a delivery, a statement. A big public one is what Jake was going for. Or is it more to the citizens, make sure it's known or at least not kept a secret so the word spreads out amongst them? So big public announcement or word spread out?
Make a show of it, I believe, is the idea. Make it well known and make it be, let them know that it. Trying to think of a way to word this. It will bolster them to know that we were able. I don't want to say bring him back. I don't think that is something we specifically want to say. What do you think?
No, I think that's the whole purpose of it. Really, to showcase, to
You
showcase
can say save.
power.
I guess that's true.
Okay, so I'm going to double check this to make sure I know exactly what you're doing. You were going to make it known to everyone. You're going to make it known that there was a successful assassination attempt from an old rival back in Paradale, and that it unfortunately took the life of your general. However, fortunately, this is no small nation without its own repute and powers, a nation that's looked after by the three chosen of their respective gods. And so they gave to them the divine power to return this slain man back from the dead so he may continue to serve those three gods in this upcoming war. Is that kind of like the route we're going with? Like, yes.
Yeah, one would push that it was specifically Vrogar that brought him back now.
Of course. So as the shadows of his past came back to bite him, but even the might of Paradel and the curses of worshippers of Lady Aravel can't keep him down. Vrogar returns him from the dead to bring forward his, aid in the field of battle in the name of the gods. Okay, cool. I that's awesome. I only need one tiny little teeny tiny smidgy digi of a thing. I need a loyalty check to see how well this gets delivered. I say it again, a loyalty check indeed. A loyalty check. Thank you, Steve. I just saw that. I'll take care of it in a minute. Loyalty check for you guys. You have a plus 16 because the rain was still happening at the time of this check. So plus 16 on your loyalty check is a reminder. Baseline ruling is control DC is 30. That's right, 30. You have good stability in the economy. Your loyalty is trash because you're missing so many members of your thing. Valor needs to switch over from economy to loyalty soon. That's what big thing there too. All right, so who wants to roll this for me, boys? 1d20 plus 16.
I think it should be Vrogar's bitch.
Vrogar's bitch.
Only.
Is that you, right? Because I'm pretty sure one bends you over pretty often. No?
We take it in turns.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Just like the GIF. Oh, I miss Emrys.
1d20 plus what was it? Plus 16?
Si, senor. Now roll well. Roll to a point where luck may be able to aid you.
Yeah.
No, roll beyond the point where luck isn't even needed.
Oh!
Oh, that was...
Why did we let him roll?
I can't see what it is. I'm having massive
internet issues.
Oh, that'll wake
It was
you
a
up in the
1.
morning.
Dash.
You don't let one roll the die when it matters, because one rolls a... Oh, God, he's so egocentric. Oh, God.
It's fine.
Bullshit.
Don't worry about it. You don't get critical failures in skill checks.
No. Failing by 13 never has a negative effect. Nope.
13.
You deliver the rules. Sorry, the message to your people.
Do we want to at least make it not 10 under?
Yeah,
Try and get that 4.
I mean, I can try.
You ever seen wherein say "I told you so"?
Yes, quite often actually. It's one of the
I think
things
try so we can see how many we have to deal with.
Yeah,
no.
maybe.
It's broken.
There's
And
no
if Josh is watching or listening, I should say, it's broken, and I deleted all the things, including multi attack, and did the command setup, SET capital U P, and it's not working, so it's just broken.
Why is Vigil the Inquisition?
So I don't know where we... I think this happened last night. I don't know where we left off, but we're going to have to assume we're at 0. So don't even roll it, Tesh. I mean, Jake, sorry. Don't even roll it.
Well, we're at 0 luck.
Yeah, because we don't know where we're at because the thing broke.
We're not at 0 though.
We definitely weren't at 0.
Well, let's look at the last time luck was rolled, right? So let's scroll up really quickly. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry, guys. This is just unfortunately the thing's being wonky. You rolled a D4 1 last session. So in the session prior to that, how much did it say you had?
We got a couple from Steve, didn't we? Last sesh.
Oh, God damn it. It's not even... I have to go back into the archive. Loading the archive. Hide... Show in 1 page. Show me everything. Give for me everything in 1 page. Last session was status quo on use. Come on. Sorry, guys. I know this is annoying. There we go. All the way to the bottom. Now it starts scrolling up. I just have to find last time it was used successfully. Yeah, you're bouncing around a bit, but you're still here, Tesh.
No, it flat out cuts out for like about 3 or 4 seconds. It's back and then cuts out again.
Like so.
Like so. It said 4 left in the thing. I know Steve gave you one last time, which is 5. Brings you back down to 4. And I'm seeing if there are any other random D4s that are used. Poor Tesh. Things are not going well for our party right now.
Yeah, I know.
All right, you're back again, Tesh. Yeah, so you actually have 4. So my apologies. You have 4. We have to keep track of that. 4.
Do you want me to roll one, or is there really no point?
No. It's up to Tesh was suggesting to roll one.
Go for it, mate.
Another one. There you go.
Okay, so that got you up to a 19. That means you have 3 currently in there. We'll see if this ends up mattering at all. I'm going to leave this here as a thing that's on at least the map. So when they're on the map overlay, we can see a 3 sitting over here near your army. So we can kind of keep track of that. Okay? Actually, I'll put it up here near the keep. Yay! So we can kind of see that. Just so everybody can see where I put it. It's right up there. It's the little 3 there. All right, let's stop wasting our time talking about nothing. So, one more thing, and then obviously you wanted to go talk to the undead thing like Tasha just said. While you guys are the report gets to you that you're heading up. So the report gets to you that there is the token is being pulled up randomly on the table occasionally, and that you need to get together. Imagine it's actually Tesh is the one that's informed of this, since she's the one that's like, let's get together. And you call for the other chosen to meet with you. As you guys are meeting at the at your war council room, like your round table room, war room, I think that's what we always call it, or situation room. As you guys go meeting there, you actually have a runner coming up to you. So this is clearly somebody who's wearing like a hardened leather armor, has on him the clothing of a scout and a messenger. Like he clearly is wearing the outfit of somebody that'd be riding a horse, so on and so forth. You can see just by the way that he's just drenched from head to toe. He has just come in from the outside. The way that his cloak and his boots and everything are just covered in mud that have probably been splattered up from the slamming of horse hooves in the ground, that he's just arrived into Kurzfall. So he arrives to give you information. Whoa, that's weird. Tesh is just poof, gone. So he arrives to give you information, saying, Chosen, please, may I have a word?
Of course.
There's we have received word from the lines. We've received word about the armies of Haude Gwenh. It seems as though they've stepped onto the move. They've started to mobilize, moving forward. Unfortunately, it seems as though they are heading north. It seems as though they are heading to Rid.
One turns to Raymond and says, we must forget these plans of talking to the undead for now. We should march with Lord Greyrus to Vigil. Turn them before they reach Reed.
Christ, they got to there? Fucking hell. My crow is useless. It can fly. You can't fly faster than an army of 10,000 people, though. That's not important.
Oh, I forgot.
It definitely wouldn't spot that. Don't worry. You know, like bird's eye view as the crow flies. All these things are bullshit.
It's just been busy. That's all. Okay, so hi Tesh. So
sorry, I want to see what was happening because it like my Ethernet is disconnecting, but it's like
went and punched the router.
Consistent. Like it's literally like drop for like 3 to 4 seconds, back, drop for 3 to 4 seconds, like exactly the same amount of time.
But
it wipes everything.
I was like, but it looks like you're clean now. Did you adjust something?
I went and pushed in all the connections.
Oh, so maybe something just got knocked loose. It happens all the time here. So.
Yeah, it's also exceedingly hot at the moment, so I don't know if that's messing with something.
It's so funny because I'm like, all right, don't freeze. So he says, unfortunately, my lords, I wasn't able to see how many soldiers it was, as I was in a bit of a precarious location where I was spying in on them. I had seen the armies starting to leave the gates. and I head immediately to the north to inform you. I can tell you that I rode much faster than they walked, and so they maybe only have about a day's travel behind them. As I said beforehand, they definitely are heading to the north. If I may be so bold,
Go ahead.
Oh.
I thought the yellow worshippers of Lady Aravel is supposed to be pulling their ire to the west. What has happened to this plan? Is this not a thing that we're doing now?
We just did a couple kingdom rolls, buddy, and haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah,
I
can you
completely
fuck
understand.
off? We've got a lot on our plate right now.
No,
all right.
I absolutely understand. I can see there's a chicken leg literally about to fall off because okay. You know, it's on the ground. Do you mind if I eat it? I'm really hungry from the ride.
Only if you eat the claws.
Yeah, well enough. He reaches down and grabs up the chicken leg, and he's like, "Oh, great! There's some of Jake's hair on it," and then walks off, saying, "In the name of Gondor."
Right now, Jake's like, never wearing my hair down again. Fuck this kid.
If on my next roll, if I roll really low, I'm just gonna go put my hair up.
It's bad luck hair. So he gives you the information, of course, that an army has started traveling north. You don't know how many peoples there are. What you do know, so as you guys immediately walk into your situation room, what you have sitting in there is what's his name? Leon, General Jaeger, is always inside there, and he's usually with different leaders. Happen to be in there or not in there right now. The one person you consistently do not see in there at all is Kithel. Kithel might come to Kurzfall for like a couple-day trip and then head back out since you guys sent him to the east. But he has consistently stayed at Rid, where he's kept trying to do the best he can to keep the peace between the people, directing the construction of homes for the people as much as possible, and has just sent word in that they've finally completed the construction of the first wall to hopefully aid against any battle that might be coming their way. But Kithel, you guys haven't seen in a long time. You guys walk into the situation room. It happens to be Leon is in there with Edric. Edric, you can see he's got, for the past like few weeks, he has like bags around his eyes. You almost don't, if you see him, he's almost always sitting. You can see he almost always has like a cup of coffee near him. You've noticed that even though he's a tough guy, he's a warrior guy, and so he always had a regiment of like exercise and whatnot beforehand, and he ate, but he always worked, right? He's got a bit of like a belly going on, like a dad gut going on at the moment, as he's been probably just eating trash food, just trying to like keep things plugging along. He just looks stressed as, you know what I mean? And then you see a couple of like nameless commanders that are there with just higher ranking soldiers that are there with Leon, and he's got it going over some strategies. As soon as you the three of you come walking in, probably all at once. He doesn't always do this when it's just him, but as soon as that happens, he immediately turns and stands up and stops what he's saying, so the three of you can come into the room, kind of showing a sign of respect before his subordinates here. As you guys walk in, do you say anything, or do you just let him continue?
Let him continue.
Okay. He will say, just to cue you in, Chosen, on what it is that we are going over here. We are nearly done amassing the armies, the persons, the volunteers that have all been training for the past several weeks' time around Kurzfall. They are doing well in their actions. I have set together a small splinter group for you, Chosen of the Quill, so you may have your meeting outside the eastern gates. They will be formed probably in a few days' time, if not a week's time, outside of Rid, so that you may travel within Rid, so that you may travel with them. Lastly, I do want to say that Vroga's army has settled about 7 or 8 miles to the north of Kurzfall. That way they are not going to be disrupting the everyday life of the citizens of the city. And the army brought by Hinta has been sitting within Rid itself as a bit of an auxiliary army, should anybody come clashing with us in that direction. Our meeting here is done. I was about to send them with their orders on their way. Shall I?
We have heard some troubling news that requires a swift response. Swifter than a week, and it will require armies, I imagine.
He looks to the two that are with him and he says, "Then the two of you know what orders you've been given. Take care of them immediately." And he looks to you and says, "In times of war, all news is bad news. Please."
The army of Haude Gwenh has set forth and is marching towards Reed.
Do you know how strong this army is? Since you've received the report and I haven't.
Was there any mention? I was looking through something at that time.
No. You found out that there is an army traveling north. Instantly got that information.
That's what I thought.
You can still make a scouting check to find out that kind of information, but we'll get to that afterwards. So the answer currently is you don't know.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that is not information we have been blessed with. However, we do know that should we not intervene, all of the citizens and refugees in Reed will presumably be far worse off.
We need to turn.
We need to send Lord Graerus down to Vigil. We need to have his execution public. We need to find a way to draw the army away from Reed. Try as we might, Reed is not a fortifiable position. It sits on low, flat ground by a river. A river may slow down a force, but once it crosses, that is it. I should imagine Haude Gwenh are capable of mustering a force far larger than we have. Therefore, we need to try and control the confrontation as best we can.
If Lord Graerus' son is commanding part of the army, that should be enough, hopefully, to draw him west.
This is true.
I think Valoran should set forth with him to Vigil. We should try and make contact with these free folk as soon as tomorrow.
Oh, you want to be able
I think
to get
we're
there?
supposed to meet them.
Want to be able to get there that quickly?
As in, set off tomorrow anyway.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha.
I mean, are the free folk legitimately up here?
Are the free folk what?
Like the meeting zone, where is it?
You know that they're probably going to be meeting with you around this region over here. So outside of Rid, maybe as close as the one hex immediately above it, but not in Rid itself. It's going to be somewhere outside of it because they're going to come marching into one of your cities.
Those buttholes.
They're currently up here.
We don't have travel time like that. Send a fucking representative. Jesus.
They are
These modern mercenary. Yeah, and they can send a single representative into our city, and it's not like marching into a city.
We want to hire you, but you do all the work.
Yes! They're providing a
That's
service.
why we pay you.
That's why we pay them.
If I want a cheeseburger from McDonald's, I gotta drive to McDonald's and get it myself. Now, if I want to pay another company to then go to McDonald's, so you might be able to hire somebody else to do.
Is that not the purpose of our messengers?
But
there are Uber Eats.
If I go to McDonald's, they will make the burger the way I want it. If I send Uber Eats, I'm gonna get some incompetent schlub to do it, and now I come back and I'm like, why is it a vegan burger? What are they trying to impose their own opinion on me?
They
Did
should.
you see what happened to me with Uber the other day? Yeah. I ordered a meal, a side of chips, and a drink. The Uber driver arrives with the drink and chips.
He's like, that was good, bro. Thanks.
What?
When I used to work as a kid at Domino's, we had a driver that would take one slice of a customer's pizza all the time and then just squish it together. and give it to them.
That's amazing. You know,
All the
kudos,
time.
kudos
All
to the
the time.
entrepreneur. Kudos to the entrepreneur. That's amazing.
I mean, they look jank enough that I mean, they probably get away with it.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
That's so bad.
I'd fire him in a minute. I fired somebody for literally eating a French fry off of a plate. You know, like one of those in the expo window. Somebody went over and ate a French fry, and I was like, "I told you before. Give me your apron, go home." You know what I mean? Run him up, fired him the next day. It's like, stop eating off people's plates. But oh man, that's funny.
Ooh.
That's funny. So that's a health code thing though. So you are all right. Let's go. You give all that information to him, and he says, and you guys are kind of deliberating between each other.
Chosen.
He says this isn't necessarily true. Think about what it is that they're trying to do here. Haude Gwenh, unless they're trying to make a decisive win at the moment, unless they're trying to bring their entire army at us, full-fledged, to just roll through us, it's more than likely they're looking to test us, or they don't know we have Rid. They're going to take Rid for themselves. They already took Strahd. They already took Harad. Rid gives them the full control of the river and the entire area. It's more than likely they don't know we have forces there.
It is definitely the next city in Forvin. They have the issue of the lake, and Rid is closer. Would make sense.
The way I see it, we have a few choices, one of which is to lay an ambush for the troops that might arrive at Reed. This has the possibility of causing casualties among our civilians, however. Alternatively, we could send faster mounted forces to intercept the smaller force that you predict they are sending to Reed, and also send scouts in the meantime to ascertain whether or not it is a smaller force.
Hinta is already there, and Hinta, while she may lack in her she may be lacking in some areas, she is capable in how it is that she rules over her soldiers. Again, these are mounted soldiers, 200 strong. I don't know how many are coming. None of us do. But the likelihood of them being on mounts themselves is going to be very slim.
In that case, it would be best to meet them in an open field.
I think that we place our trust in Hinta in this situation. I think we allow her to do what she does. Hold Rid. She has Kithel there with her. We have other pieces on this board that we need to manage while we're getting ready for the major conflict. We still need to sign that treaty with those to the south. We still need to see if we can hire the free folk. And this damn piece on the table is lifting higher and lower every moment. It's a meeting that I think cannot wait much longer. At the very least, to calm the nerves of your soldiers who are nervously standing by some undead.
I disagree with your assessment. This is the first battle of a war, and it will be remembered for a long time to come. However, I understand that we do have pressing matters to attend to, and we may not be able to marshal our forces adequately in time. We have 3 things to do, and we have 3 rulers. We should split and deal with them as soon as possible. Someone should go and deal with the free folk. Someone should go and sign. I understand they wanted all 3 of us to sign. However, that isn't possible for us at the moment. We have many, many things to do.
Indeed. I do not know how. Sorry to clarify. I missed a lot of the setup for this. Is Elliot here with us here?
Elliot is back. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Okay. Elliot, do you think they would be?
Oh no, he's in this meeting. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You'd have to call him to the meeting. I'm sorry, which you can easily do, and he can come.
Then I would do that.
Yep.
Get someone to fetch Elliot and just. Elliot, what is your opinion on if one of us were to come sign because of the situation we are in? We are stretched thin and we need to act quick.
By request of both Octavia and the 3 of you, it would have to be a treaty signed by all 6 parties.
then our first order, I think, or at least something we should do quickly, is sign, and then maybe split up from there.
Elliot says, on horseback, I've been able to make that ride. If you push hard, uncomfortably hard, you can make that ride in about a day's time. You can. It's a long day, but we could be there by this time, by a couple hours before now tomorrow.
This treaty is important, and I think ruining it at the last step is not a good idea.
I would agree.
He looks to you, Wherein. This is General Yeager, and says, "That report, may I have it?" Okay, he's got handed to you, and it was told to you verbally, whatever. He takes it and he kind of like moves some pieces on the board, and that's what we're seeing on this map over here right now. And one of the things that you notice about that is he says, "This army, assuming that they're marching soldiers, it looks as though they've already traveled a day. For the average army of foot soldiers, it takes 2.5 days to get to Rid. If the three of you left for vigil, it is unlikely you'll be there before battles. Unlikely you'll be there before battle starts outside of Rid. However, you may be able to arrive during the combat. If you push yourselves hard enough, potentially before, but you'd have to leave immediately."
As I've said before, we are placing an entire populace's life, all of its citizens, on, although respected and probably well-reasoned logic, it is just guesswork. This could well be a full force, and it could crush Reed.
Crucial to us. I believe we should do everything in our power to make sure they know we have their best interests and we will protect them.
We can send the army of Rogar to back them up.
I think that is not a bad idea, but I think we sign the treaty and then we join the battle. From there, we can split to where we need to go.
Sending the army of Rogar is not a bad idea. It would take them probably 2 days to arrive in Rid. So sending them now, they will be able to join the battle even if later in the day.
I think that is a good idea. I agree with you, One.
He looks to Edric and says, "Edric, ignore the finances for this moment. Just have someone send that word. Have the army of Rogar march east."
Just
before anyone goes, sorry, Valorant, but
it's fine.
Someone is Kithel over there?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't Varen have a problem with the orcs? I just remembered.
Oh, yes. Actually, that's probably a bad idea.
Mm.
Also, it may be best to save them for now. We do not want it known that we have extra forces. It could be our advantage if we save that card for another battle.
It could be our disadvantage if the riders of Varen decimated in a field that is not really suited for mounted combat.
But we also do not want the riders of Varen to fight Rogar's army.
Yes.
They should be able to get past it. I mean, we're all on the same side.
Why would the riders of Varen be at odds with Rogar's army?
Because there's a lot of orcs and half-orcs there, and the last thing that the riders of Varen fought of any significance, a bunch of orcs literally from Orsugo's bands, which many of these once were.
Yeah.
As far as I understand, again, I've already said this earlier, Hinda has a firm grip on the army that she has with her. I don't think that they would.
Yeah.
They have both a treaty. The persons in her army owe personal thanks to our nation, and her command over them is rather strong, surprisingly so. I think that they will be well enough to listen to her. Your concerns are not without merit, but in a time such as this, I don't see them fighting each other. Not unless this war drags on, not unless things grow painful as the months roll. Let's not let it get there.
Then I agree. let us send them now. I believe. At the very least,
have word sent to 3 because she's the most capable of leading that army, especially in keeping the orcs in check.
Edric looks and says, "I thought." Excuse me. I thought Vuga, whatever his name is. I thought he was the one.
Have you spoken to him, Edric?
He's frankly incompetent.
So
he may be valuable in taking orders, but he might not be the most.
He's a fighter like myself. We're not commanders' armies. We fight.
Okay. So hold on. I thought he was the one leading it. If that's the case, am I supposed to tell 3 that she's taking over and tell him that by your orders?
I would have had this conversation with 3 in the time leading up to this.
So 3 would already know, but I just kind of inform him. All right, I'll
have 3 do it. You don't need to do anything, Edric.
So just tell
She can
her.
handle herself.
Just tell her then. Is it?
I'll go speak to her and tell her that's what's happening.
He stands there, kind of looking bewildered for a couple moments, and then just kind of takes a couple of steps back to his seat, and like looks around like, I'm not supposed to leave, and then kind of slowly lowers himself back into his seat.
Edric, you should probably go get some rest because you're not functioning properly. So I would like you to go have a couple hours sleep.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's an order.
Gets up and immediately pops up way faster than last time and starts making his way out of the room. He makes his way out of his room. He literally stops at the doorway like, ugh. Turns, comes back, picks up the heavy book he always has with him, and then turns and walks back out with it.
Yeah, no, he's not useful right now.
No, a tired leader and makes mistakes.
Well, the next step is, I believe we should decide where we're going after we go to Vigil.
Your plan is to meet with the Free Folk. I'll have word sent out immediately to have them meet you now, sooner rather than later outside of Rid, since you'll already be there. Let's decimate their army and then meet with them immediately.
That is not a bad idea.
Would you be able to send scouts out as well? We need to find out whether this force is coming to Reed is actually a manageable size.
I agree with you. That's unfortunately in Hinta's field. I don't have with me the similar chain of commands that I'm accustomed to beforehand. Word between here and the front lines takes time. It would take a hard day to get word to her to have the scouting happening. So we're gonna have to trust that she's already doing it.
Wait a second. I have. Where is it? Oh, it's not bringing up what I wrote in. Oh, it's got nothing in it. I wrote a big description that is just not there anymore. It's got 4 uses.
It only sends the other ones.
It has a distance limitation unless it's going to one of the other ones. What is the distance limitation?
The spell sending.
Okay. Let me bring it up.
But I think it's a few miles. No, I think it's actually. What was it? 10 miles or something like that. Look up the description, and that was because it was supposed to be for like shorter range, unless it's the kids. Because usually the sending spell doesn't have limitations, but that one does.
Sending you contact. Oh well, the sending spell just says it gets.
Yeah, it doesn't have a.
So what was it on that magic item? Do you have it written down?
No, because I don't believe
then
you said that was a limitation.
Let's go 10
but
miles.
I don't think you ever told me.
Or for simplicity, anywhere within your hex or the hex adjacent is so I suppose a honeycomb. Range is a honeycomb. That's fair,
okay.
Right? That's pretty good though, because that means like you can. And how many times a day are you allowed to use that?
4.
Okay, cool. 4 times a day you can honeycomb a message. That's pretty baller. Cool. That means
I
you can
believe
Okay.
we should,
Go ahead.
I believe we should set off a vigil immediately then.
The map. So I had to open up all of this stuff again, and I forgot to move it all out of the way. Okay. Yes, I believe it is in our best interest to send to head off immediately. I was trying to think if I want to. So, do we know? So, has she been given any note? Oh, you two are just perfectly still. Oh,
No.
the internet cut out again.
I was listening. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I missed earlier with what the actual report was. They're moving up towards Rid. We don't know their size. Does Reed know they're coming?
That's a good. That's literally whether or not you're going to know their size is going to be based off of Raid's scouting check, which we're going to have you guys roll that in a couple minutes.
Okay. Well then, yeah. I guess all we have to do now is head off to Vigil while we do that.
Okay. So before you guys leave, he's just going to ask one last thing. He's going to say, Chosen, if the war is starting now, we can mobilize our forces. As soon as the forces go from being on reserve to mobilized, they become significantly more expensive. They no longer have regular assets that they living their normal lives, eating there, so on and so forth, and training in their downtime. They are on the road, traveling with them many supplies. They become very expensive. I'll mobilize all forces that we see fit. We already know we're mobilizing the Riders of Wherein now. What about the other forces? Are we mobilizing Vroga's army? Are we mobilizing our central force? Are we mobilizing the force that I believe is known as Rayron's Riders? Because they've been calling themselves that.
Oh. That's Aaron's only response to that.
Do we wish to at the same time bring our
the central force? Can we bring it down to vigil and switch it into reserve, relying on the good faith of vigil to feed it?
Absolutely, we most certainly can.
Then I think we should get it brought down.
Yes, if we're going to do that, it might be best to use this opportunity to bring a particular prisoner down, ready for vigil to.
Agreed.
It is the safest time to do so.
We will travel down to vigil. We'll set off in an hour or so, after which we will travel to Reed to join the battle that will be there. Vroga's army will also head to Reed in preparation for the battle. Leon, I want you to travel with the army of Daelric down to north of Vigil, where you will establish a war camp, and the soldiers can rely upon Vigil to provide them with sustenance. I will forewarn the Lady Octavia about this. If that is not something that they can do, then we will deal with that as and when. When you bring down the main force, you will also bring a prisoner, the Lord Grearas. He's not to be harmed, he's to be kept healthy. He is most likely to be executed in a distasteful manner to provide an inflammatory point for the armies of Haude Gwenh.
He bows his head a little bit as you say that, because obviously nobody here likes, except for maybe one, likes blood being spilt for things such as this. But he nods his head, like understanding, and says, as is the ways of war. Very well. I will ride with the army and send all the word as you have just dictated. You can, of course, put your faith in your advisors.
Arthur will take command here while you're gone.
He will raise a smile to that and say, I'm sure he'll be very happy to hear it.
Well, time to prepare.
Seems like we've got as many bases covered as we can for now.
We need to send someone over to the Western Keep to inform them that we will be delayed. We cannot come immediately. There is urgent matters.
The Western Keep we can portal to instantaneously.
Yes, yeah.
Correct.
Currently, they're bloop, 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 bloop.
Let's just go. Just go now. We'll talk to the people. We'll find out what it is.
I guess it will only take like 20 minutes.
And then we can come back. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So you guys are saying,
Actually,
screw it,
that's
just
not a bad
lift
idea.
it. Yeah. So you let everybody else leave the room first. But while you guys are probably grabbing your gear to do that, because you would get your gear together just in case, because it is an undead creature. While you're getting your gear to do that, Leon, of course, gave the order to whoever else might be in the room. I don't think there is anybody else, but he would actually say, "Chosen of the Quill," a word.
Yes, General.
You're getting your axe, you're getting your staff, and he looks to the only person that always has his weapon at his side, no matter how disappointed in him it is, and says, after they leave the room, he says, I have a suggestion. A suggestion for a request. Vigil is comprised of former members of the Peridot military. They were literally a splintered branch of the military, of a Peridot military force, with a few civilians that traveled with them, came into Adir and built their nation over 100 years ago. They brought with them many artifacts that they used to keep their nation safe. The sword Octavia carries, things like that. One will not like this, but they might have chains of Aravel. It's the eyes of the dark. There's many names for this, but it's literally, again, one will not like this. It's literally a bracelet that you wear that is comprised out of former slave chains that are then given to one central command. They can have many attachments to them. I've personally worn one of these that had up to 16 attachments to it, links to them that were links that came off the chains that are worn by others. It allows direct one-way commands to be given from one end to the other. These are frightening tools because these commands that are given are very much that, commands. They can be just words that are taken to help direct a battlefield, or they could be orders that are given that can break the will of strong men, forcing them to do what it is that they please. It's something that I would suggest that I wear for strong communication across many miles with all of our soldiers to make sure coordination happens swiftly and decisively. But it would require an artifact of Lady Aravel to be worn by a member of your own nation, and it would require the three of you to put your trust into me and my commands.
As an artifact of Lady Aravel, oops. It doesn't display the eye. It's simply a set of chains.
It is chains, former shackles of slaves, but no actual eye.
While it does sound like this would be quite an advantage,
You're not there.
do not.
You're not there.
That's right.
Yep. He spoke specifically to the
Sorry, I heard three of you. Then ignore me. I doped.
I'll speak to Octavia and see whether we can get hold of a set of these chains. As for you wearing them, I trust you will not be using them to break the will of our men.
I will be using them to command our soldiers in the field of battle. I will not be using them to command my chosen.
I do not want you to use them to force the men into doing things they do not want. Making sure that you are clearly heard on the battlefield is an important matter. However, forcing those to fight for you is not. what we created Valorant for.
Generally speaking, they wouldn't be used for exactly as you're insinuating, but the overall commands and test of wills against another, I understand, is what you're feeling uncomfortable with. I'll respect your wishes.
Just do your best to avoid placing shackles on the men. One would be disgruntled.
This conversation would make him disgruntled.
Yes, but the disgruntled I refer to would probably involve an axe.
He smiles at that. It's weird. He smiles now. Again, it's one of those things we've talked about it beforehand now, but he has these kind of reactions now. He says, one last thing, Chosen. I say this not only as the request, but also as a warning. If they do have one of these, it wouldn't be unusual for them to convince you to allow them to speak to you across miles.
They would use a similar device to discuss with us.
Just be warned.
Very well. I might mention it to one on the ride down, should we get the opportunity.
Safe journeys. I have soldiers to whip into shape. And he gives a salute, and then he turns and walks out of the war chamber, allowing you to collect your couple of things, and everybody gathers up there, goes over to the table, grabs the thing as it lifts up, and you can feel nothing. Nothing actually. You don't feel anything happen when you do that. But you can go over, and you see that both things are kind of like lifted up simultaneously, and they're holding there. You go over, and you open the door when you do so, and you notice that you're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. But you are going on break. We'll see everybody in a couple of moments.
Oh no, my cat just came and saw me.
Good.
Haha, you're trapped.
Kerosene.
Katie!
He's so cute. Oh, yeah, you are.
Be right back.
She's the cutest little thing, aren't you?